Sai Ram. Ever since the physical departure of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba on the 24th of April 2011, probably one of the hot topics of wild speculation and great anticipation is the arrival of Prema Sai Baba. This kind of excitement, anticipation and speculation is unprecedented because possibly never before an avatar has left behind some information about an upcoming avatar. For instance, if we look at Shirdi Sai Baba, he only gave a very cryptic hint. During one Vijayadashmi day, he got up furious, and it is said that without any clothes, he came out and told the people that this would be the day of Seema Langan. Seema Langan meaning crossing over the boundary to another kingdom. It was a very cryptic message because on that Vijayadashmi day, Shirdi Baba moved from the kingdom of Maharashtra to the kingdom of Andhra Pradesh, where several years later, as Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, he announced himself. It is only in retrospect that people understood the meaning of what Shirdi Baba said. But in the case of Satya Sai Baba, he has made multiple references to Prema Sai that has given birth to multiple Prema Sais already. Which of them are genuine, which are fake? Should we go and follow them? Oh, so many questions are there.
Prema Swarupulara.
The earliest possible reference to Prema Sai Baba happened in the late 1940s. This has been recorded by Srimati Karunamba Ramamurthy, popularly called Kannamma, in her book Sri Satya Sai Anandadayi, pages 62 and 63 in the edition that I have at home. In that, in the late 1940s, Swami revealed to all the devotees gathered there that something very, very special is happening in this Kali Yuga. What do I mean by this Kali Yuga? Swami says that the Chatur Yugas, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga, they occur in cycles time and again, over and over again. But then, in this Kali Yuga, it is something very special because the Kalki avatar, the 10th in the Dashavatar, is not going to come as one, but as three. Shirdi Sai, Parthi Sai and Prema Sai. Swami said that the Dashavatar, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Vamana, Rama, Parshurama, Krishna, Balarama, Buddha and Kalki occur in every Chatur Yuga cycle. But the Kalki avatar coming as three is unique only to this time. Swami also went on to say that the Sri Satya Sai avatar would be there for 96 years, 1 year after which Prema Sai avatar would be arriving. Well, we know the mystery and the enigma surrounding 96 years. So how can we truly understand what the words of the avatar mean? When we ask the question, why is this Kali Yuga very special? The answer was revealed to us by Bhagwan himself on the 6th of July 1963, a glorious Guru Purnima day when Swami cured himself instantly of a paralysis that had struck him for 7 days from the 29th of June, and then made some mind-blowingly amazing revelations. Well, I have delivered a 1-hour lecture on that theme and on that paralysis and that Shiva Shakti revelation in this separate talk. But now I will say this much, that during that discourse on the 6th of July 1963, for the first time in public, over the public announcement system, Swami revealed that Lord Shiva gave a boon to sage Bharadwaja, whom he had just cured of his paralysis. Lord Shiva said that Shiva and Parvati would be born in the Bharadwaja Gotra, in the lineage of sage Bharadwaja, not once, not twice, but thrice. Shiva alone as Shirdi Sai Baba, Shiva and Shakti together as Satya Sai Baba, and Shakti or Mother Parvati alone as Prema Sai Baba. Now this gets very interesting because in the 1940s, Swami had said the three Sai avatars to be part of the Kalki avatar, which is linked to Lord Vishnu. And here, Swami linked the three Sai avatars to Lord Shiva and Parvati. This is amazing because it shows that the Sai avatars are something very unique. It combines Vishnu and Shiva. The next reference comes up in 1976. This is an interview that Bhagwan granted to Rassi Karanjia. He is among the foremost editors and journalists in India, known for his incisive, investigative journalism. He has interviewed phenomenal personalities from across the globe, including Zhou Enlai, the first premier of China, and Fidel Castro, the revolutionary, the Prime Minister and President of Cuba for almost 50 years. Now, Rassi Karanjia was initially a very fierce and ardent critic of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. He criticized and condemned him and then came to investigate on his own. When he came to Puttaparthi in 1976, Bhagwan granted him an interview for 2.5 hours. At the end of that interview, in the magazine Blitz, which was supposed to have broken down so many godmen and so-called gods, R.K. Karanjia wrote, "God lives in India." During the course of that interview, Swami mentioned to Mr. Karanjia about the three Sai avatars. When Karanjia prodded further on, Swami said that these three Sai avatars will not be distinct. For example, if you take a large piece of jaggery, say a 1 kilogram block of jaggery, and break it into three, all the three blocks will have the same quality, the same trait, because it is the same jaggery. So too, Shirdi Sai, Satya Sai and Prema Sai are nothing but one and the same. Yet again, a statement that is so specific, yet so cryptic in its meaning. Swami further said that Prema Sai would propagate the truth that everyone is divine. Each and every human being, each and every living being is divine, and that would be the ultimate realization. I would like to just draw your attention to what Swami says in the Dharma Vahini. Swami says that in the Krita Yuga, people say that there was Hiranyakashipu and Prahalada. Krita Yuga or Satya Yuga is supposed to be the best of times. But then it was the worst of times for Hiranyakashipu. It was the best of times for Prahalada. Because it is not the time that determines dharma or goodness. It is the dharma or goodness that determines the time. Swami says that because Prahalada was one of exemplary character, it was the best of times. But because Hiranyakashipu was of bad character, even though it is Krita Yuga, it was the worst of times. Which means, Swami clearly says that even in Kali Yuga, if you follow dharma, it is the golden age for you. So the golden age is a concept that probably is not universal, but very personal. Depending on how much you follow Satya and Dharma, the golden age dawns for you. So too, can it not be possible that Prema Sai also is a very personal concept? Depending on how close you are to the realization that you are divine, Prema Sai comes in your life or not. Well, this is my speculation and nobody can say it's right or wrong, but it's definitely a thought to ponder on. The next reference comes in 1978 during a conversation with John Hislop, which has been recorded in his book Conversations with Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Hislop is talking to Swami about great catastrophes that are about to happen, disasters that are about to strike mankind. Then Swami assures him telling that no such catastrophe or disaster will happen. In fact, Swami says no World War III also will happen. At that time, another devotee who is seated in the interview room tells Swami that Swami, if it's all going to be so peaceful, that means Premasai will not have much work to do. This was 1978, and Swami there tells, oh, that Premasai is at least 40 years away. At least 40 years away means 2018 upwards. Again, if we consider our concept of time and years, because let's again go back to the 96 years, none of us can explain it. Only the divine has to explain. But what is interesting is, at that point in time, the devotee says, Swami, it will be great to be born, to be reborn during the time of Premasai. That time, Swami emphatically denies it and says, no rebirth. Try to achieve moksha or realization in this birth itself. It is very clear that Swami is emphasizing that a bird in hand is better than two in the bush. Don't wait to see Premasai and get moksha. Work for your moksha, work for liberation in this birth itself. Only the present is in your hands. Swami would say, past is history, future is mystery. Present is a gift, and that is why it is called the present. But it is not an ordinary present, it is omnipresent because you have come to know of Sai. Let us utilize the Satya Sai avatar rather than waiting for the Prema Sai avatar. Again, something very interesting with regards to Hislop is that Swami actually materialized a ring for him on which Prema Sai Baba would go on forming. Just like a baby is born and the features keep developing, Swami told him that the features of Prema Sai Baba would develop. In fact, let us listen to this experience of getting the ring from Swami in his own words. Hislop narrates it with a lot of humor and joy, and it's amazing, and that's why I feel it's better that we listen to him directly.
Well, about the ring. Swami has given me, I think, 5 rings now, 6 now, with the diamond. He gave me a diamond a while ago. Because I'm a careless man, I move my hand without thinking, and I strike the ring against something. And you know, the customary ring that Swami gives is sort of an enamel ring with his picture on it. And so the last one he gave me of those, I broke it. And afraid to tell him that, I put it on a chain and put it under my shirt, thinking Swami will ask, Hislop, what's that bump under your shirt? But he didn't ask me that year, and it was towards the end of the next year that he finally said, Hislop, what's that bump under your shirt? So I pulled it out and said, well, Swami, I broke it. He said, let me have it. So I took it off and handed it to him. And he looked at it and said, oh, those stones are no good anyway. Then he threw it back to me. And then what he did was to just not say anything, but just put his hands like this and blow into his hands. And then there was a ring made, which he didn't show to me at all. He passed it all around the room to the college boys. This was in the old house, not the new house in Brindavan. You all know that new house built like a lotus. The old house was left over from the British administration, sort of a big, rambling ranch house. It was nice because it had a big front porch. And those of us who were lucky enough to be living on the compound where Swami's house was, or devotees, old devotees who were able to come through the gate, we could go into that veranda first thing in the morning and sit there all day. Watch Swami come in and out, talk to him, he would say things to us, and so on. Of course, that's all finished now with the new house. Nobody can do that anymore. So at any rate, we were sitting in that house. And in that house, every evening, the bunch of the college boys would come. And they would sit in the veranda. And then Swami would call on them to give a speech without any preparation whatsoever. They had to get up and give a speech. And then he would call on individuals to sing bhajans, sort of a system of terrorizing people. And so I was eventually, I couldn't escape any longer. He pointed his finger at me one time and said, Hislop, you sing a bhajan. Well, I can't even carry a tune. But still, what could I do? Swami says to his devotee, sing a bhajan. So I opened my mouth and sang something. And from that arose a distinction that I think I don't share with anyone else. And that is, I'm the only person Swami never asked to sing twice. So it was at one of those meetings that Swami then made the ring, which he didn't show me, passed all around the boys. And then he finally gave it to me. And it was a big, solid gold ring with the Swami's bust, shoulders and head, sort of rising out of the gold. This big gold ring, then rising up was his bust and his head. Must have weighed, I think, 2 ounces. It was heavy, heavy as could be. So he finally gave it to me. So my wife and I were very pleased that night with the ring. And then in the morning, every morning we go there, not the ladies couldn't go, but the men did who were able to. And Swami in the morning would interview a bunch of the schoolboys. They would come up and form a line. And then he would talk to them. Sometimes he would scold them and sometimes joke with them if they had done something that wasn't right. He knew about it. He would just tell them right out and scold them severely. And so then he said to me, Hislop, give me the ring. I don't had it one night. And so I gave him the gold ring. So then he passed it all around amongst the boys and then came back and said, well, Hislop, would you like a picture of Swami on your ring or a picture of Shirdi Sai? What could I say? There's Swami standing right in front of me. You know, so I didn't answer at all. And so then Swami takes the ring and he goes around and shows it to all the boys again. And then he comes back to me and says, well, Hislop, what will it be? Shirdi Sai or Satya Sai? So fortunately, diplomacy came to my aid. And I said, Swami, you choose. So he said, well, you already have Satya Sai, so let it be Prema Sai. So then he took that very heavy gold ring and blew on it, and then Prema Sai ring came out. So that's the Prema Sai ring. It's the only likeness of Prema Sai that exists. There has been a picture passed around, which is supposed to be a Prema Sai. I showed Swami a picture, a copy of the picture. And Swami said, no, just artist's fancy, not Prema Sai.
One thing that becomes clear from this talk and narration is that this popular photograph of Prema Sai that keeps circulating and everybody seems to be modeling along it, to become the future Prema Sai. This photo, according to Swami, is an artist's imagination. Because that is what Swami told Hislop, and Hislop has recorded it. We heard him say that. And as of the Prema Sai developing on the ring, though different people say that they could see the nose, the chin, nobody could see the entirety clearly. And on another occasion, Hislop narrates how Swami told him that he would never reveal in entirety how Prema Sai would look, because that is against the laws of time. Now we come to 1982. In the book published, Invitation to Glory by Howard Murphet, Howard Murphet reveals how Swami had indicated to him that Prema Sai Baba would be born somewhere in between the city of Bangalore and the city of Mysore. Again, another piece of information that has been exploited by so many people to come up with so many Prema Sai Babas. The next reference comes on the 28th of September 1990, the Vijayadashmi day, which is also celebrated as the day when Shirdi Baba took Mahasamadhi. On that day, Swami revealed that also happened to be the birth date of Shirdi Sai Baba. In fact, the entire discourse reveals amazing aspects and unknown facts from the life of Shirdi Sai Baba. During the course of that discourse, Swami revealed how Shirdi Baba had revealed to his closest devotees and the only disciple. Suffice to say that Shirdi Baba indicated that he would be reborn as truth or Satya. And then Swami revealed that the next would be Prema Sai that is coming very soon. Probably the final reference that Swami made to Prema Sai Baba was on the 6th of March 2008, the discourse on Shivratri day. That time also, Swami mentioned about the triune avatars, Shirdi Sai, Parthi Sai and Prema Sai, and Swami said, as the name indicates, it will be the time when there is only love, love and love. Again, as I said, we may understand this as the golden age where everybody is extremely loving, or a personal golden age that will dawn when our hearts, when my heart is filled with only love, love and love, and I will have the darshan of Prema Sai over there. We all know Ratanlal Aunty. She served like a mother to the Satya Sai avatar. Ever since her arrival to Swami's presence in the 1960s, Swami has always given her a very, very important place, position in his life. She in fact cooked for Swami for so many years, and she travelled along with Swami, and Swami would tell his hosts at different places to learn how to cook from Ratanlal Amma. This Ratanlal Aunty on one occasion revealed how when they were all coming back with Swami from Ooty to Puttaparthi, they had to pass through Mysore. After crossing Mysore, at a little town called Srirangapatna, Swami stopped the cars and got down for a small break. During the course of the break, Swami called Ratanlal Aunty and a few others, pointed out to a few hutments at a distance and said, when I come as Prema Sai, I will be born in that place. Interestingly, Srirangapatnam happens to come in the district of Mandya. This is another indication that was revealed to me personally by Ratanlal Aunty. Now that apart, I know at least a couple of devotees to whom Swami has promised that they would see him in the Prema Sai form. He has promised them a place at his lotus feet when he comes as Prema Sai, and they are eagerly awaiting the arrival of Prema Sai. Now that, dear brothers and sisters, is a comprehensive record of all the revelations that Swami has made about Prema Sai Baba. Now, before I conclude, I would like to request each and every one of you to go back into the inner recesses of your heart and see how you were pulled to Swami. Did you actively search for Swami, find him, investigate him and come to him? Or were you called? Swami says that each and every one who has come to him has been called by him. Even if you didn't want to come, you have been pulled. And at times, even when you wanted to come, if the time was not right, you have not been allowed to come. I'm sure you would have heard the experience of that disciple of Swami Shivananda, which is there at this link above. It is very, very clear that it is Sai who calls each and every one of us to his lotus feet. Why do we think it will be different from Prema Sai? Yes, it would be wonderful to know of Prema Sai and to be in his presence. But that depends on the will of Sai. Why should we go around searching for birds in the bush when we have a bird in hand, our beloved Swami. Let's sit loyally and lovingly in our faith to Him. And if it is good for us that we have the darshan, sparshan and sambhashan of Prema Sai, then Sai will call us to Himself, just as Satya Sai called us to Himself, just as Shirdi Sai called devotees to Himself, so too will Prema Sai call us unto Himself. This is my humble submission. Let us not waste precious time running hither and thither, searching everywhere in the world. Sant Kabir Das says, Kasturi kundal basai mrigadunde banamahi, aise ghat ghat Ram hai duniya dekhe nahi. Meaning, the musk deer searches around the entire forest for the source of that fragrant scent, not knowing that it is emerging from itself. So too, we are searching for the Lord, for Sai everywhere in the world, forgetting that He is sitting waiting for us in our own hearts. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.